Welcome. The purpose of this video is for me to share very specific techniques and baits that we use to catch a lot of quality fish on our Lake St. Clair trip. This trip took place during the first week of May 2019, so this was primarily pre-spawn conditions. I'm doing this video in voiceover because the vast majority of the footage is on a GoPro, but the points that I'm trying to make will still come across. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the first clip. So to start out the first morning, myself, Radar, started out with a blade bait. It was a 1/2 ounce Silver Buddy brand gold blade bait, and I put this clip in there to show the bait. There it is right there. It's a little perch I caught. I ended up catching probably 5 smallmouth on that bait this day. Boots, who you see right there, started out with a tube, a green pumpkin tube with a 1/2 ounce jig head, and then ended up switching to a lipless crankbait in red. It's a Excalibur brand, I believe, and that's what he's fishing here. He's just letting it sink to the bottom and then pulling it through the grass. There you can see him rip it. And okay, so he's ripping it through the grass. We were fishing in about 5 to 8 feet of water, just doing long drifts. And there's a fish. This might have been his first fish of the day. I think it was a decent one. And there you can see the bait. Red lipless. So here's the next clip, and in this clip you're gonna see Boots make some hand gestures here, and what he's doing is he's pointing at his graph because he could see fish on his Garmin live scope, and that's actually what he was targeting, just making short casts out in front of the boat. And there's one right there. Oh, but it came off. So if you watch this clip though, this fish actually comes back and gets this bait. Same cast still. And there it is. Came back and grabbed it up. For those of you that have not been to St. Clair and are wondering where to fish, I would say just start out by simply looking for big packs of other bass boats, and you just got to get in there with them and start running drifts, making short casts. You don't want to make long casts because you're going to get fouled up in the grass, so just make short casts more often. But there's fish number 2. That one was on a green pumpkin tube. So this is a different area now. Different day, I believe.
Hi folks, today we are here at the Mecca of smallmouth bass fishing. Look at the boats. Boats for days. Boats for days.
Alright, so here's me at the front of the boat fishing a green pumpkin tube, again on a 1/2 ounce jig head. And this is very key. The key here is just short casts, almost like if you were flipping grass. You want to make as many short casts as you can, because most of the time the fish are going to bite it on the initial fall. I'm fishing a 7-foot medium heavy rod strung up with 10-pound fluorocarbon, and I'm just very slowly jigging the tube. In this case, the fish obviously bites it long after the initial fall. I've always got eyes on the live scope, and there's the fish. You can see boats in the background because this is a pretty busy area. It's not like a secret hole, it's just a community area. Like I say, just look for other boats. And also look for rock. If you can find rock, you can find bass. There was the bass. This is a different fish. This is a catfish. A little bit later in the day. But if you can find rocks, you can find bass. And most of the time we were fishing 5 to 6 feet of water. Just trying to hold a certain depth contour. So this is now a different day, and now we're looking at about 3 to 5 feet of water, very clear water. And this is the first cast of the day for Boots here. And he is now throwing a 3.8-inch Kitech in sexy shad. I think in this case it was the Easy Shiner. But we threw both the Easy Shiner and the Swing Impact version. Threw them on 1/8 ounce jig heads, strung up with 10-pound fluorocarbon and sometimes 8-pound. But yeah, first cast of the day, just reeling that Kitech really slow as we could stand to do. And Boots got the day started off with a nice 3+ pounder there. There you can see the bait. Just a nice, beautiful smallmouth. Here is Boots again. This is only a couple casts later. Maybe the next cast, actually. Same bait, same retrieve. Hooked up. And this would actually become basically our primary pattern for the remainder of the trip. We would mix in other techniques, but this was the most productive by far. And we used a variety of colors. Pretty much any color would work. I think we had the best luck with sexy shad, though. Smaller fish there. Here is Boots again. Same technique. Just reeling as slow as he could. Same area. You see him rip it through the grass right there. A lot of grass all over the whole lake. But where there's grass, there's bass. Big old hook set. And you can see now he's swapped to spinning gear. He's using 8-pound fluorocarbon now. We were a little bit worried about line size because of the extreme clarity of the water. Yeah, this is another good one, I believe. Yeah, big one. That's a 4+ pounder. You can see it's got some weird black spots on it. Another key is every time we caught a smallmouth, we put a waypoint in on the graph. And what happens is over time you build up clusters of waypoints that are kind of like hot spots. That's really your only way to refish the same areas. So this is same day we took a break from the smallmouth to go catch a few largemouth, and here we're just casting up on the shore of a rocky shore. You can see Boots caught one on a square bill, and I'm actually about to hook one on a Texas rigged Cinco. And there it is. Smaller fish, but still good fun. So this is back in the Kitech swim bait area. Probably fishing 3 to 4 feet of water. And there's Boots hooked up again. And one of the keys for us was to make the same drift repeatedly. And what we would do is anchor down, fish an area fan style thoroughly, and then move a little bit, maybe 15 yards, anchor down again, fish that thoroughly, drift a little bit, anchor down again, and just repeat the process. I think this is another pretty good fish. Yeah, it's a 3 or 4 pounder. There you can see the bait. It's probably a 4+. Same area, same technique. It's going to start to look like a broken record a little bit. But that was just the deal on this trip.
These are fun.
This is me at the front of the boat now. Same technique, same bait. And I would just cast. I always fished with the wind so I could cast as far as possible with the swim bait. With the swim bait, you want to make the longest cast you can. And if you watch my rod tip here, I believe you can actually see the strike on this one. You'll also see some grass where the rod will load up a little bit because of the grass. There it was. Very vicious strike. I think this is a pretty decent fish too. It had a big old gash in its back. Probably about 3 pounds. I put this clip in there just to show that, yeah, once the drift is over, we gotta load up, turn around, go back upwind, make the drift again. I had like I said, most success with always casting with the wind to maximize length. So you want to move that swim bait along slowly, as long of a distance as you can, cover maximum water. You can see how slowly I'm working it here. And I think you can see the strike on this one too. There it was. +3 pounder. There's the bait. I think that's the that's the easy shiner there.
Look at how fat it is.
Another chub. Nice little double there. Couple of slabs. So this is actually a tube fish. I think Boots switched to a green pumpkin tube 1/2 ounce again, just to mix it up a little bit, and actually caught one there. No, that's a swim bait. So same technique.
Oh, he's biting me. He's biting me. He's kidding.
How can the possibly smell so terrible? How can it possibly smell so terrible?
Same technique here. I think this is a pretty good one.
Drag set, said it must be a gigantic fish.
And we were setting the hook pretty aggressively on these fish because we were using medium action rods with a lot of tip. Very soft tip. Yep, it's a big one. It's probably a 4+.
It's a good old healthy one, you know. Got a good bulbous feel to it.
And there's another good quality swim bait bass. I will say there were people fishing in this area, catching them on every different type of finesse bait. We caught a couple on Ned rigs too. A couple on tubes. I think this is another swim bait fish. Biggin. That's another 4+, I'd say. That looks like the Swing Impact. Kitech.
Say goodbye to the camera. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Look at the size of this thing. I tell you what.
Another chunk.
That's a big one. That's a 4-pounder.
Big old slab, 4+ pounder.
Oh, he's got bits.
another one. I think this might have been our best day. There was one day we had something like 25 smallies. So this is a different area and a different technique. I'm actually just dragging that half-ounce green pumpkin tube real slow through a patch of rocks that we had located. It was basically out of the rock and into the bass. Out of the grass and into the stink. This was caught with the same technique, and I think that might have been the biggest fish I caught on the trip. This was well over 5.5. Dragging a tube really slow. And here you see Boots is actually jigging a tube. Green pumpkin still, half-ounce. And there it is. This was about 6 feet of water. Dirtier water that time.
Still recording? Yeah. Gonna talk about the trip?
It was great.
You said it was great. I say it was great. It was a great trip. We had a really good time. Caught a lot of brown bass. Didn't catch very many largemouth this time. Maybe like 5 or 6, 7 total.
So yeah, the point again of the video was just to give some very specific
We targeted
insight
brown bass only.
on techniques that we used.
Until next year.
So hopefully you, the viewer, learned something and enjoyed it. Thank you.